So this week, Brandon Estates have took the application to appeal because they lost the application to build 124 houses on the Brandon Stadium site, and they've took it to appeal. It's been 2016 it closed. It's been going on for nearly 7 years now. The application's been turned down a couple of years ago. It took them this long to get to the appeals state. So the appeal is this northern girl who seems very down to earth. She's the government inspector. She seems really down to earth. So let's see how she sees it at the end. And there'll be about 8 weeks, I reckon, for her to make a decision. So it could go either way. So this week's blog is really about Brandon because I'm going to be watching this all week. I'm not going to be there. I'm at work, but good luck to them all, and let's keep our fingers crossed and see how this week goes. What he's trying to say there is, as any Spirit riders or stock car drivers stopped racing because Coventry's closed. That's basically what he's trying to say. He's trying to say how many people lost their sport. And he's trying to differentiate between participants and spectators.
Yes, we will adjourn now.
Stock car, the answers that you've given to me just a few moments ago apply equally to stock car racing, as far as is relevant. Yes?
In terms of the evidence point, yes.
Yeah. This is an evidence-based process, isn't it? Would you agree?
Yes.
You're not, I suggest, I would ask, suggesting that the inspector proceeds on the basis of no evidence at all?
No.
No. Thank you. Included.
I don't even understand the questions. Let alone be able to give an answer. This guy from Sport England is doing his best, but the questions are ridiculous. They're impossible to answer. Just legal speak. It's just lawyers for you.
Certainly when the facility closed, the team who raced there, the participants, folded as well. There were attempts to go to alternative tracks, but that didn't work, so...
Forgive me, that's an answer to a question I haven't posed.
I was trying to give a fuller question as...
No, it's an answer to my question would help. Is there any evidence before this inquiry that people who wish to race Speedway as participants are unable to race Speedway by reason of the absence of the Brandon Stadium?
The team folded.
Forgive me, I've asked you that question.
Sorry, Mr. Tom, that's not quite answering the question, is it? I understand what you're trying to say, but that is not directly answering Mr. Gurley's question.
I don't have the details of where those participants went and whether they stopped racing or moved elsewhere.
So you don't have the evidence of that Speedway? On that basis, does Sport England have any view that it has expressed or expresses?
I'm saying Speedway is recognised by Sport England and stock car isn't recognised by Sport England as a sport.
To foster
unusual.
Sites.
No, they're talking about participant sports or spectator sports because there's a lot of participants in stock cars and lots of formers. Just put them on the spot continually.
In terms of this document, it does make reference to get the reference, need or spectator demand.
No, I disagree. It's relevant for looking at participation and places to play and people participating the sports under consideration, and it provides a framework to do the kind of analysis that has been undertaken.
For participation, because you were asked questions quite fairly by my learned friend near the closing of his questions to you about participation, 3G in football versus spectator.
Couldn't listen to this for 8 days. Jeez, it's boring as hell, isn't it? I've watched it for an hour now, and it's just like going on and on and on. The smallest tiny points. It's really hard to watch. I'm glad I'm not involved in this process.
And not on the basis that there was anything wrong with what it was going to cover.
No, well, there hasn't been objection, but certainly there hasn't been support from those bodies.
So today, I've been watching this for over an hour now. This has gone on for 7.5 hours though. This is a Rugby Borough Council YouTube channel. It's just so boring. I feel sorry for this guy. He's been in the chair for 5 hours this afternoon. They're just interrogating him about viability of Speedway at Leicester. Yes, Coventry Bees did go there for 1 year, but there's no mention of stock cars at all. Of course, we want Coventry Stadium back to race Speedway and stock cars, and they keep talking about Speedway. That's a bit frustrating. And obviously 20 miles away, Coventry want to race at Coventry. Coventry fans want to go and see Coventry at Coventry, a Coventry track. And obviously we want stock cars back for stock cars. And the stock cars that provided the profit the last few years. So all these things answers questions that I could answer, but geez, I'm glad it's not me. I couldn't handle this kind of pressure. I do feel sorry for this guy that's trying, this guy from Sport England. We want to get our barrister up there, don't we? Or Jeff Davis. Dave's been talking all morning as well. Dave was in the chair this morning as well. Dave Carter, he did fantastic. God, well done, guys. Keep going. So along with the 134 houses, they've put in a 3G artificial football pitch to sort of replace the stadium sports, to replace the Stockcar and Speedway with a 3G football pitch, which is just a gesture, isn't it? You know, they're just putting that in to try and get the houses. They keep talking about the participation with Speedway and Stockcar and the 3G football pitch. The 3G football pitch will bring in more participants than the Speedway and Stockcar. It's just ridiculous arguments. The argument for the 3G football pitch is just to get the houses. It just drives you mad watching it. It's just, I've watched 2.5 hours of it now. I can't watch any more today because it's getting me cross. And Matt Ford has flown in from Spain for some evidence towards the Speedway, and I'm not seeing him today. And he's going home. He's got a flight back tonight. That's just not fair, is it? He's been there all day. 7.5 hours he's been in the courtroom today, or in the Rugby Borough Council, and they didn't see him. And they've waffled and not seen Matt. And the only day he can come back is next Wednesday now. But that's just not fair, is it, when someone's coming from Spain and they've not seen him? And, well, that makes you cross. Let's see what tomorrow brings.
We just say that the sport itself, and all the evidence and data that relates to Speedway, is that the sport is declining.
Yeah, but you're not set, just to come back to Coventry Breeze Speedway, just focusing on that,
Yep.
You're not saying that the stadium is surplus to their requirements, are you?
Well, they have no requirement because they're not currently operating.
Not currently operating. If they wish to operate, based on their past and what's been said about the way teams operate and need to be near to their home supporters, etc., in those terms, you're not saying it's surplus to their requirements, are you?
I think it's speculative to say there's a requirement.
If the inspector takes the view there is a requirement, then you're not saying it's surplus to that requirement, are you?
If the inspector takes that view.
Thank you. Quite apart from Coventry Bees, the Brandon Stadium has also been recognised as one of the best shale speedway tracks in the UK, and the Wembley Stadium, as it's often said, of stock car racing. You don't refute either of those claims, do you?
I've no. Wembley Stadium is an interesting way of describing it, but they are just claims.
You don't.
I have no view on them either way.
And there's no evidence that you put in relation to those to suggest they're not accurate.
There's no evidence that there is. There's no evidence that there isn't.
I assume you read some of the material before this inquiry.
I did, yes.
Yes, good. You say you have no view and you have no evidence to support a contrary view, is that right?
We do have evidence.
That was interesting you used my quote there, because I called Brandon the Wembley of stock car racing, so it was interesting that they used my quote. Well, Warren Hunter was fantastic, and without his financial backing, offering to buy the stadium, we wouldn't have a argument or a case. So Warren is really our backbone, and he did fantastic on the stand yesterday. Some very difficult questions. I only caught up on that last night. as for today, over 2 hours again talking about this bloody 3G football pitch. And they've only put the football pitch in to try and get the houses. You know, it's nothing to do with the football pitch. It costs £1 million to put the football pitch in, but they've only put that in to try and get the 124 houses. It's just an afterthought. It's because they're losing one sporting facility, so they're trying to put another sporting facility in. They just keep talking about this bloody football pitch, not talking about the houses or the stadium. I think the football pitch is the minor relevant thing. So today, it's finished at lunchtime. It's 1:30 now. It's just finished. I've watched an hour or two again today in my breaks. I'm trying to get my jobs done, of course. I'm at work, and I'm trying to keep up with the what's going on as well. Geez, it's been hard work. Watching it. I'm glad I'm not there. But good luck to everybody. Keep going. While it still stands, we'll keep fighting. Well, that's been 4 days of evidence in the courtroom or in the chambers of Rugby Borough Council, and I've kept it to 10 minutes, and that was boring. 10 minutes was boring. So I do apologise, but I've watched. I haven't watched all of it by far. I've watched a couple of hours each day, and I've got bored. So geez, it's really tedious, isn't it? So after 4 days. I don't really think anything's happened after 4 days. Or it must be costing a fortune as well, mustn't it? So let's see what happens next week, and we'll I don't know if we know anything by the end of next week. I don't think we will, to be honest. Right, a quick update on stock cars. Jake's axle's out, and we've got to get the end repaired, got the end snapped off, so we've got a spare one there. We're going to get that one made up as well, so we've got a spare for the future. So that's out. My car, I haven't even touched my car. I didn't think I'm not in this watching the other championship at Bradford tonight, so we haven't done anything about fixing my car. And then I found out I could have been on the back of the grid if I wanted to, so anyone else could go on the back of the grid, but I didn't know that till last night. So I haven't done anything on my car, so I can't just fix that in the next couple of hours and go. And I'm not booked in, of course. So I'm going to go fishing instead. So my tackle's out, I'm going fishing. I've got a match on air today. So a bit chilly, isn't it? Right. Let's go.